Danielle was going to try to call in. She's in Wisconsin. She didn't know they had a connection or not. So Bob Gibbler, enforcement, Bill Palin, Jim Wetling, Judy Truckenbrook, also present Kathy Myers, Mike McBride, Bob Sandra, and Zach is here, Becky Brennan, and Paul just said that Paul Meyer will be up shortly. So I was wondering if any of you ever seen an oxymoron? Some can be pretty ugly.
Oh.
All right. So anyway, is there anyone that needs to go first this morning?
I don't like that joke.
Anyone need to? Todd Nicholson is also here. Starting with clerk and recorder claims. County General.
The county of our election expense, $723.69.
You want him to sign, you read him and he can sign them, we try that,
Okay,
we can speed it up.
creative printing, $1,823.42.
Just hand it on to him.
No, you can allow it too. Okay. Election expense, $63.70. Okay. Mail for the election, $354.99. Supplies, meter reads, $295.03. Election supplies, $538.47.
Okay. Total, $3,799.30.
$3,799.30. So. Up next will be automation.
From Iron Mountain, $92.70. Navion interface kit, $850.
Total, $942.70.
$942.70.
Correct.
Okay, up next is treasurer. Okay, yeah, that looks a little different, but don't forget to mention.
Okay, first one, I've got candy for collecting bags, amount $48.60.
Okay.
Next, mileage ICT Medium Rock Island, amount $37.95.
Okay.
Next, postage refill, amount $1,500. Next one, office supplies, $22.32. Next, SVM for copier, $90. Next, US Bank for software training, $100. Next, Steven Strelitz, check signing service, $379.50. Next, Dell Marketing, server for accounting software to sell. Amount $9,017.05. Next, Dell Marketing, server for DevNet. Amount $9,038.34. Next, vendor IDES, second quarter unemployment. Amount $12,365.50. Next, Amalgamated Bank, LEC bond payment, amount $517,437.51.
Okay,
Total, $550,036.77.
$550,036.77.
Correct.
Okay, we have 2 months of tuition here. Let's get these guys the next two.
Okay,
Go.
okay. Tourism Council, hotel, motel, receipts, $487.66. And the same for the city of Dixon, $487.66. Total, $975.32.
On these, Judy, there's no place for signing.
Fine, make one. I guess just write the amount somewhere.
Just write it.
And then your initial.
And that's what beside.
You were supposed to, yeah. He has to do that.
That's right.
That's all right. Okay, next one,
Different form.
yeah. And you will be seeing a lot of different things coming up with the new system. So, Jim, go ahead.
That goes with the sheet.
I'm gonna put the two together.
Well, he's got that one too.
No, he doesn't. You have 1 month, they have the other month.
You got it.
I need what you have, Bill. Thank you. Okay, Jim.
This is the August, bed tax collection, $6,207.55. I got two of the same. No, wait,
One's Dixon and one's.
one's in county tourism. Okay, good enough. Sorry, I didn't read that. August 20th, bed tax collection, $6,207.55. Yeah, these are different.
And total, $12,415.10.
Judy, I think that first total is what Lee County decided in finance to give back to the tourism. That was their accumulated
Oh.
administrative fee
Oh,
that they had accumulated. They had about $1,000,
Thank you, right there.
$1,000.
Thank you. I thought that was.
yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Um,
That's too many.
6,207.55 is a refund from,
That's all right, Joe.
It's what had built up in the account years ago.
and counties.
487.66 build up administrative rights,
I will double check. So
half to the tourism, half to the city. But the
Right.
6,000, or 6207.55 was probably
The total.
July's bed tax. I don't see the claims, but those figures seem to be right.
Well, this is, the 487 would be July.
I know there was a decision made in finance to give back to tourism and city what they had accumulated in administrative fees this fiscal year.
That's probably the amount. That's all right. Because July's at 487.66 is more like with the COVID-19.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so then the total is $13,390.42. Up next then would be. Right, this is. Next up is ROE.
And clip these off.
It should be a perfect order.
Yeah, but I gotta find where packet one.
Sorry to give it to you, but.
I will let Sherry know when she comes back from vacation.
Well, I got packet one here. You got the sheet, Jim?
I do.
Okay, packet one is for $1,928.98.
You want this one that has the packets out already, Bob?
Oh.
Yeah.
That's easier. Okay, packet number 2 is for $784.33. Packet number 3. $2,000. And packet number 4 is for $666.67. For a total of $5,379.98.
$5,379.98. Up next is county board.
Ready? I got Amboy News, $135.16. Next, Walters Law Office, $97.50. Next, Sikich LLP, $2,802.50. Next, Sauk Valley Media, $13.65. Next, Sauk Valley Media, $209.30. Next, Sauk Valley Media, $163.80. Next, SBM, $115.71. Next, US Bank, $978.
Total, $4,515.62.
$4,515.62.
Right.
Up next is assessment office.
Okay. Conference travel meeting, 285.54.
That's the last one on my list.
Okay. I have to go backwards then. Contractual services for the copier contract fee, 225.53.
All right.
Electronics in court, the annual burglar alarm service, $348. Copy paper purchase, $152.22. Membership dues, for the assessment, $425.
Total, $1,436.29.
$1,436.29. Okay, veterans.
I got one extra one. This is Chief County Assessment Office for the month of September, the COVID stanchion guard to prohibit public entry,
Okay,
9628.
are we, who's doing those, the finance is doing those claims, correct? The COVID claims, how are they handling it?
Well, and I thought as long as they had the number, the COVID number, line item number, that they just went through committee, but I'm not sure.
Judy, you could just go ahead and on your sheet, just put COVID. It's on the long claim sheet, so I think Jerry Ann adds them all together.
Okay, so put a separate.
Yeah, just put COVID at the bottom and that total.
Thank you so much. Okay, what's the total?
Well, $96.28. What she did was buy some stuff for credit card and then they got to for the
Okay.
reimbursement.
Okay.
96 what?
9628, Bill.
Then I will just put that. Okay, so then next up is veterans. Thanks, Jim.
Well, total,
I'm gonna put this,
It'll work, it'll come out.
okay.
you want me to put this on top of
That-
this COVID one, so
Either top or bottom, either one. Top is good. Thank you.
A transportation fund, $1,086.50. The county VAC, $150. Oliver's Market, $49.76. And the county transportation fund, $218.
Okay, total, $1,515.62. $504.26.
$1,504.26. GIS computer services. Tell me which one you want first.
Yeah, I'm trying
Wait
to
a minute.
figure out.
Which one do you have first?
Microsoft email accounts, 3,500 something.
35.99,
Yes.
59. I'm just trying to sort out what I've got here. Receipts. Okay, the Microsoft email account's $3,599.59. And the GoDaddy renewal, $79.99. Next is CDW, $1,467.36.
Okay, I got that. What was the total of those? I got them together, or separate, I'm sorry, Jim.
You have,
768.36.
Yes.
And 699.
Right.
Okay, good. That's a total of 5,146.94.
5,146.94. What was purchased with the CDW?
Terra station for the highway department was $699. And UPS for the new courts building was $768.36.
Okay, and I don't see anything here for GIS reporting. Any questions on any claims this minute? Entertain a motion. Pass
So
claims.
made.
Mr. Fiedler, second, Mr. Phelan, all in favor?
Aye.
Reports, anyone want to go before Kathy? Minutes. Oh, thank you. Minutes from last month. Kathy?
Everything is moving along well in election. Still getting quite a few applications for a mail-in ballot. Most importantly, I just wanted to let you know that Lori Miller is going to be leaving the county clerk's office. She is taking the position at the sheriff's department. And so I will be advertising to replace that position. So that's all I have. If anybody has any questions for me.
Okay, well, good luck. I know it's going to heat up with elections.
Kathy, is it necessary to have any drop boxes for these ballots?
No, it is not. That is an optional thing.
Yeah.
I chose not to have the ballot drop box just for security purposes. They can drop the ballot off here if they want, or they can put it in the mail. So,
Okay, questions come up. So.
Yep,
Thank you.
I think you need another secure area to be able to do that.
absolutely.
Kind of like some of the post offices in small towns where you have a little locked in area and you can lock it up. Yeah, you know,
Okay.
so that just. Thank you. Well, Oh, Paul is here.
Oh.
I looked right at you. Paul was up earlier. Thank you.
Updates are, so due date was last week. We'll be doing some cleanup on that. Certifieds will probably go out next week. And we'll be gearing up for the tax sale at the end of October, all that cleanup. Budget is, I think, getting close to completion. We are about 450 something thousand in the hole. I know in the general fund. But, Finance Week's got that on their agenda for Thursday. And I guess the other big project in our office is the software conversion, and I have the new chart of accounts almost completely built. I only have one department that I need to contact to do some cleanup work, the health department. They've got a lot of grants and different things, so I need to work through maybe some new configurations for that. So I think we're about there, and it's like the big projects going on, so.
On that conversion, you're way ahead of where I thought you'd be at this point. It's pretty amazing. I know that's how you work, but that's a lot.
I mean, this is my 4th conversion, so.
Oh, okay.
I kind of got it down to a science thing.
Well, I know things are going to look differently, so you'll probably be doing quite a bit of educating.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I'll have to do some of that, yes.
Right, any questions there? Did the taxes so far look like they came in with these?
Yeah.
Not too many.
Yeah, we had a
Really
few
late.
people, there was a few phone calls looking for an extension again, but not that many, and the first due date, we collected just about what we'd collected the year before, so not very many people took advantage of the due date extension, so, yeah, I think we're pretty close to where we were.
Mr. Sutton, Figaro?
Okay. Well, schools are open. That's a good thing. We have one district out of our 24 that's remote learning, that's Stewart. Stewart is a small district here in Lee County, and their board decided for the first 6 weeks, they would go remote and let everybody else have problems. And then they're gonna have a school board meeting to see how everybody else is doing and decide what they're gonna do. So that's what they did. That's working fine. And everybody else, remarkably, it's going as much smoother than I anticipated. I'm very, very happy with, I inspected Amboy schools the other day. All the little kindergartners are running around with little masks on, and it's not phasing them a bit, from what I could see. Kids were all in class wearing their masks. They were talking about, we talked about each other's masks and how we enjoy, I like their mask, and they seem to be proud of their masks. So it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. High school I was amazed. I thought high school kids would be the ones that definitely wouldn't wear it. No, they're all wearing them. So I've done Morrison and Amboy since schools have been in, and been very impressed, actually. Fulton High School started complete remote because they had 7 students test positive before the school year even started. So they're doing first semester full remote, but the rest of the district is doing blended, which means they're doing an A/B day schedule. I would say we have, most of our elementary districts are doing 4 or 5 days a week with it being complete instruction, but they're getting out early. The state requires 300 instructional minutes. Most of them, which is 5 hours, most of them were doing 6 to 6.5. So they just cut back to the minimum 5. So they're letting out at 1:30 instead of 3 o'clock, or 1 o'clock instead of 2:30, or.
A lot of them cut lunch times and recess time, correct?
Well, no, they still have to have lunch.
I know, but I meant instead of 30 minutes, they're getting 25 maybe.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, because they can't count lunch as part of instructional time. So, yep. So they cut back a little bit on that. And they did cut, of course, afternoon recess because they don't have, they aren't going to be there in the afternoon. Yep. So most of the elementaries are doing that. Most of the middle school and high school are doing a blended, which is an A/B schedule where half the students come on A days, which is Monday and Thursday, and the other half come on B days, which are Tuesday and Friday, and then Wednesday's a remote learning day for everybody, gives the district a chance to catch up with the remote learners. Some of them are doing on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then they switch, which I find personally confusing, but if it works for them. We have about a 15 to 20% remote learning that the parents have opted to do complete remote learning from the start. Every district is allowing that. They're asking that if you're gonna do that, you do it for at least the first quarter or the first semester. But what we're finding is after the first 2 weeks, they're saying, we're sending our kids. We don't want to do this anymore. We've had a few that have said now after a couple of weeks that they want to go to remote learning. So the superintendents all know that they can't deny a student to come back to the building if they did remote learning. They can request that they try to do it for the first quarter or first semester, but if the parent says they're coming back, you got to take them back. And it's the same thing that if they opt to go remote, they can. But we're not really broadcasting that a whole lot because we would like them to at least give it a chance. A lot of them are doing separate teachers for the grade level that's all they do is remote learning. And so if they have one teacher per grade level doing remote learning and they already have 20 kids, it's hard to keep adding kids and subtracting kids. If a kid is quarantined, most of the teachers are asking that they keep them on their regular schedule and they will treat it like they're sick. And they will do remote learning with them rather than have them go to the remote learning teacher for 2 weeks and then come back to them. So it's really challenging, but they're doing a really good job. So we've started our school inspections. We tried to get as many in as we could before school started, which as Michelle told me, she said, one problem with that is the teachers are the ones that bring in the violations. They bring in the extension cords and stuff, but we wanted to get as much done as we could. So we got all the Sterling schools, all the Rock Falls schools done with cooperation of their fire department before school started. We got Amboy and Morrison done, and so now we're working on the rest of the schools. Our professional development department is all virtual, and it's going very well. You can see we had 165 participants in August, which is pretty good for August. We had a ton of them in the summer. But August, we slacked off because they were kind of getting burnt out on virtual learning and they were getting geared up for their own. We got part of the Educational Pathways Grant. We helped Sauk Valley College write that. It's to help kids in high school decide what path they're going to go and start working with Sauk Valley College while they're in high school. We got enough to hire, through that grant, to hire 2 coordinators for that, which we did. Our family educators are working really close with in Amboy and in Riverdale School District, which is our Riverdale preschool in Rock Falls. With our at-risk preschool families, we had a great success story that's not on here, but our preschool coordinator in Rock Falls found out that one of her parents was having trouble with transportation, so she found somebody to give her a car. So the guy was going to get rid of the car. It was worth a couple $1,000s. He said, you arrange it, she can have it. So she did all the paperwork, and she'd never done that before. She didn't realize, she'd always bought her cars from a dealership. She didn't realize all the rigmarole there was, but she got donors to cover all the cost of the title transfer and everything. So I was pretty impressed. Our Regional Center for Change is going well. We put new carpet in there. We call it C4C, Center for Change. We put new carpet. It really, the kids love it because it's making it feel they're more welcome. The carpet was really in bad shape. So we got new carpet in there. The staff came in and painted on their own over the winter or over the summer. So they painted it. Their school mascot is the Phoenix. The kids came up with that because they're rising from the ashes and they're going to change their lives is what they're saying. There's not a problem really with taking a mask. With the mask, we do have face shields and we're allowed to use them if we need to. But we've had, one of the things in your report that you'll see is we've had positive calls. And a positive call is when the student gets a note from the teacher, the principal, the secretary saying, hey, you're doing awesome. Take this to the office and call your parents and let them know that you're doing awesome. And parents are not used to getting positive phone calls on these kids. So they're really well received, and it's just awesome for that to happen. It's a nice surprise. Education outreach program's doing well. Parents as Teachers is doing virtual, and it's going as well as could be expected. And we have the homeless education. We have our homeless grant that we're working with all the districts in our whole area. So, any questions?
Yeah, I have one. When you're talking about remote learning, I take it that's more than just putting a camera in a classroom.
Well, students or districts are doing it different ways. When they have their own remote learning day, when they have their own teacher, she's at the school, but all the kids are at home. And so then she has a camera and everything she's doing on the board, they can see it. She interacts with them on Zoom. And so it's like they're there, but it's just virtually. Some of them are trying to set it up where if there's only one or two that are remote in the class, that they remote in every day and they get to see their classmates. And so it's a combination of both. But they're not just getting packets and saying, here, do this work and bring it back.
Are a few school districts hiring somebody to do the remote?
They shuffled their teachers around. Many of the elementary districts had the teachers are doing their own PE. So they took the PE teacher and they put them either in a classroom because they have most of the elementary PE teachers have a self-contained kindergarten through 8th grade degree, so they can teach. So they're either the remote learning teacher or they put them in a classroom and one of the classroom teachers is the remote learning teacher. They did the same thing with art and music. Those teachers now are regular classroom teachers, either remote learning and then they're helping all the other teachers, or they're doing art on a cart. And because they needed the art room to split up classrooms and make them smaller. So they're using every available space to keep about 16 kids is about all you can do with social distancing, even wearing masks. And so this is one time when the small districts, everybody says, how do you have a district that only has 100 kids? Well, they're really coming out ahead on this one because they only have like 12 or 13 kids in the class anyway. So they were already social distanced. So it worked out well for them.
Any other questions? Okay, for county board. Mr. Nicholson, do you have anything? We have a couple of things from county board that are old business, but
Right.
anything new?
We can go over that. Don't think of anything to you, Becky. Please run this.
All right. GIS. IT next.
The last month or so, IT perspective, we've had some new installs, State's Attorney's Office, new PC installs, Treasurer's Office. Obviously, we're continuing to do Zoom meetings, not only committee meetings, county board meetings, special meetings. We're also doing the zoning meetings. Those meetings are 7 o'clock till 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock. We've been covering those meetings as well. Zach and Tom, all three of us have been working to figure out a rotation to try to keep that going. From what I hear, next month is not going to be any easier. Another solar farm, I think, is coming through, so there'll be plenty more Zoom meetings next month. So, did some computer work out at the jail, LAC. Computer went down, was able to get that revived and working. It's hard to talk with this thing on. As Paula mentioned, her accounting software was starting up. We saw the invoice there for the new computer. It just arrived. So we'll have to set that up and get that installed and ready to go. And then I'm not sure if they'll dial in remotely to set it up or whatever, but,
Gotta call them, I'm not sure.
yeah. So we'll be going with that. And then now that taxes are over with, we'll be trying to implement the new DevNet server. We wanted to, we have received that, it is installed. However, we wanted to wait till after the taxes were in so that we didn't have any hiccups and whatnot. So now we'll be calling the company to transfer that over to the new system. As Dave can tell you, the cabling for this building obviously is in full swing. They are trying to get most of the runs done down by the election area and whatnot right now. So they've been working to get that done. And then coming up, we've got, as mentioned, DevNet, the accounting, more Zoom meetings, and then this Thursday, it'll be September 10th, is the public safety kickoff meeting, starting at I think 9 o'clock Thursday morning. So that's just a kickoff to kind of figure out timelines and things like that. I project probably by the end of November, December, somewhere in that, depending on holiday and whatnot, maybe pushed off to January, but that'll be in full swing here before we know it. So.
Any questions?
Yeah, what's the public safety kickoff? What is that?
911 has purchased a new software program for CAD, dispatch, the sheriff, record management system, the jail, Dixon Fire, Dixon PD, all of that is a piece of that public safety software. So that's been purchased and the project will be kicking off here shortly, couple of months. When in full swing, probably looking at 4 to 6 months of work. Working with it, it basically has to take our current system and convert it to the new one. And then once that's converted, we have to hit every machine out there to install the new software. And that includes the deputies' tablets, jail computers, every one of those machines have to be updated, so.
And when you say 4 to 6 months, you mean like one person would be fully occupied for that period, or?
I won't say fully, but majority. And at times, there may be 2 of us needed, just because of depending on the implementation, because also there'll be training for all of the officers and whatnot. So it's gonna be a pretty big task. And then we also have to put in new systems there'll be one new server put in, and then all of the CAD stations for 911 have to be new and installed as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Anything on GIS?
I was just gonna leave GIS to Tom, either to talk about now or
I'll
later.
make my comments in executive session, but I will add just to the public safety project that Mike was just discussing, that will likely affect GIS as well, as the data layers that 911 depend on are somewhat maintained by GIS. We don't yet know exactly how the data migration is going to go for that. Shelley is going to loop me in on those meetings. It might be simple, they might do a lot of work for us, or it might be complicated, but there's a chance that a lot of my time will also be taken up.
And also to kind of go on that, once we move over to the new DevNet server 2, Tom will have to redirect all of the data for the mapping and whatnot back to the new server through GIS. So there will be some projects for him as well once we convert.
I think Wendy gets back I don't know what day this week, but I didn't hear any reports from her, so, other than that, the change finder has brought in new updates on new construction that weren't included before on the tax base, so that should help this year and next. I didn't hear anything. Did anyone talk to Jim Gorman? I haven't lately.
You brought his claims.
He was still okay. So, anything old business? We have the board rules and procedures. I did not hear from anyone regarding what we had. We do need to make one correction, and that is on section 3, the board requirements. I was mistaken, it said the requirements, and it was that sexual harassment training. It says in there that it's per state statute. It is not. That was my misunderstanding, because when I took the HR training with Donna Rogers, she was really pushing. She wants county board members to do it. So it's really up to us whether it's a requirement here or not. It just would help us with our liability if there's ever an issue as the person. So looking at responsibility and liability. So my personal recommendation is that we just strike those 3 words as per state statute and let this stand. If you feel that as county board members, you don't think that you should do it.
Well, as I said to you, that is a packet that you can download off the internet
It doesn't take
and do
long.
it at your leisure and then just sign it, you got a certificate.
I just-
Some may go through it and actually do it, some may just say, give me that last page, I'll sign it, here it is.
Well, but you can do that same thing with the Open Meetings Act, which is also, that one is a state requirement.
Well, the state requirement, you pretty much have to answer stuff on the internet before you even get to the certificate part. So you have to read through that in order to check it off.
I just turned my certificate into Becky this morning.
The harassment, is there a date on that? Is that
Well, for
October?
the employees, we said we wanted it by October 30th, so that every time it has to be by before the end of the fiscal year. But, that gave a month for, if somebody didn't get it turned in, their department head can remind them and encourage them to do so. And that would be, that they do it as state, that employees do it as state law. So, and that's something that, I wanted it on there, that needs to put into our handbook, which I thought we would be reviewing, but their people are only working remotely, so it's sitting, so it's state law, they have to do it, it's just not in our handbook, but, it needs to be added. The problem is not going to happen right now, so, I just need your recommendation,
I recommend we put it in there.
It doesn't take the employees, you guys have all done it, right?
No, I haven't.
You haven't done your sexual harassment training yet? You haven't either?
It's October 30th.
I really wasn't trying to humiliate my. Yeah, oh my gosh.
It doesn't take very long.
Are you required to?
Well, as a county officer, I'm doing it for all 3 counties, so
Yeah.
yours came through first, so I did yours, and your certificate's gonna count for the other 2.
Right. Right, I just want to make sure.
Yep.
So, you guys have done it?
Yeah.
Okay, 2, okay.
This table did well.
Yeah, guys. Okay. All right.
You worked on it pretty good.
I know, have you taken the search? I'm gonna put you on the spot, have you had this training yet? Did you go through it? Okay. You failed it?
No, I got till October 30th. I'm not rushing into it.
Maybe you and Charlie.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta study.
I'll get that done just before election time.
Oh, sorry. All right, well, okay, so we'll just strike those. And I did talk to Charlie about it, so emailed him, because we did not get any feedback, and it's not really in there, but, at the time we discussed it, like January, February, we thought that the in-person attendance was important to the state. So far it's slept that, so we have let it go. It may or may not be that at some point we need to put in there that could allow one or two or whatever, pick a number of remote attendance. But I think the Zooming is going to be here. Okay. So unless there's anything else, did anyone else have any other feedback on the board rules? But no one got back to me. So, working down, so then the acknowledgement flag policy for former board members that was discussed at their last county board meeting, it became an issue with somebody that felt that their family member should have had one and didn't get one, even though he'd been gone for a long time. So,
Well, I think it's a nice gesture on the county board's behalf of presenting some kind of remembrance to a county board member. I think there should be a term limit on that, at least that they serve at least 1 full year term or something like that. Not that they're on there for a year and a half and then they get to go off the board. So there should be a term limit or something like that.
I think too, because it was really expensive. I was not happy that it was cost more than it did for the employee recognition for 25 years. How many? So I think that we need to figure out a way. What we talked about last time, a lot of would just be a printout and it can be framed or not. We can do some pretty fancy work on the computer, just in a standard form of a certificate rather than a plaque. Would be
Either way.
well. We need to kind of come up with a policy so that we have a standard here.
Right.
If somebody going off, piece of paper's fine, I really don't need any more.
You do a piece of paper and then,
I mean, you can get an inexpensive frame, but
if you wanted to, it's not gonna be a reoccurring thing, but, after 25 years, then a plaque, piece of paper until
made
then.
for county board.
Just a thought,
Yeah, that's a good one.
25 years.
25 years should be the break point.
That's what I was.
Very few people serve 25 years.
That's what I mean, I just give them a presentable certificate until then, and then have 25 or more, give them a plaque.
Bureau County, somebody mentioned, I think Bureau County has the certificate. And they found one that was very nice.
Just, okay. Should I say?
You're
I'm just thinking, if
Go ahead, say it.
after 25 years on this board, I think I'd be pretty darn close to death. And I think my kids aren't gonna want that plaque. Okay, personal, sorry about that, I just couldn't resist. So, but that has happened. So, do you think we have to just get a subcommittee, or when Becky doesn't have anything else to do, find some things then this committee could look at one or two or three, not a big option, and then decide. We might be able to find an outlet to frame it is fine, but we do not need to be spending $125. That's my personal. You're nodding your head, but I'm not getting a lot of consensus, so can I have a motion to that?
Well, that $125, I don't know if a line night trophy is still in business here.
Yeah,
Well, we
I think where we got them might have charged more than probably was
So
necessary.
if you go to a jewelry store to get them, you're gonna pay a lot more.
Somebody else can do,
Yeah.
make their sources out there that could do more.
Sold that, didn't you, Bob?
Pardon?
And Ed Drew sold that business.
Yeah, that's what I said, I haven't,
I don't know if
I haven't gotten anything there in years. I don't know if he's still got it or not.
Well, we do need to have some kind of a policy because there was a little,
After 25 years, a plaque is appropriate, yes.
right,
Well,
And up until then,
in the
paper
meantime,
and frame.
So that being said, Ray Harrison's son called and said that someone promised him a plaque. His dad is 24 years. Chris Harrison, Ray Harrison.
Oh.
So there'll be one more. So is there a motion?
I'm waiting.
I'll move.
You do it what?
Right, 25-year plaque and paper acknowledgement up until then. After.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Okay, just know, on the, employee handbook, I said that one thing needs to be mentioned and it needs to be reviewed. When sickage came out in the first of the fiscal year, and at some point they went through and just on our handbook, when we added new things, they were just tacked on at the end. So they just went through and rearranged it, so fitting those in where they belong. But we have not officially gone through that, which is what I thought that we would, this committee would be doing. Thank you, COVID. So, you know, at some point that's going to be, just be ready. Somebody needs to be ready for that. It won't be huge, but again, those documents are something that need to be reviewed every so often. So, does anyone have anything else? Yes, Mike, did you want to make any comments in open session or say that?
Yeah, yes, at that point.
Yeah, unless anybody has anything else, we would be going into executive session for ILCS 142 C1. So unless somebody wanted to make some comments in open session. Okay.
I just wanted to mention that Zach and Tom are both here from GIS IT. Thank them for coming over, kind of supporting my department. There's been rumblings and whatnot, or hearsay, or I'm not sure of issues with my department. There's, I've heard a couple of things going on in the past. So I just kind of wanted to make a statement and just kind of a general statement in regards to my department.
Mike, are we in executive session?
No.
Okay, I
No,
just missed.
no,
Okay,
it's
sorry.
just general. There's nothing specific about it, just generalization. Just wanted to state that, back in September, October of last year, there was a kind of a pretty big project called the LEC. And Zach and I began working on that configuration for the jail network and whatnot. And it was a huge project, basically building a network from ground up. All the computers, the servers, the communications, connections, whatnot. Very, very big task. Zach and I worked nonstop out there. There were days where we were out there, 2 or 3 days in a row, 4 or 5 days in a row. We were out there longer hours, whatnot. We spent a lot of hours, basically. In addition, we also set up the courtroom video arraignment. That was a promise made for the judges to be able to interact with the jail out there. We spent many, many hours working on that. When we were not out at the LEC, we were in the courtrooms because FISIC was there working on those. We had to be there with them. We were there 2, 3 days nonstop in those rooms, making sure, trying to make things work. In January, February, it was finally determined it was not our fault. It was the vendor's fault. Machines were not applicable. So
Software was bugged.
their software, yeah, there was issues with the software. We ended up having to buy new equipment that was dedicated proprietary towards this application. So, Zach and I were both there. When you're in one place, it's hard to be in 4 other places. Yes, our work, you know, it was disrupted. There were times we couldn't get places. But when we have people screaming to be at one place, people screaming to be at another place, very difficult to be in 3 different places, 2 different places when we're focusing on one. And the company is there, you know, we have to be there. So with that being said, you know, we tried everything to make it work. We couldn't make it work because it was not our fault. So that was the January, February timeframe. Okay. So we got back into kind of a groove, started setting up machines, trying to get back into a flow of taking care of the other departments. Then obviously in March, COVID hit. And obviously we know what happened. As I've mentioned, we were essential. We were here. While other departments were half-staffed, 4 or 5 weeks of not being here and getting paid, and I do not blame any of those departments at all. You did what you had to do. No offense to any of those, but we were here trying to get things done, setting up people to work remotely, trying to get the Zoom meeting set up.
Kevin.
Trying to get the EOC working. Thank you. We were here. We were pulled in so many different directions. We were told by different people to focus on this, to focus on that. I asked for help. When we got pulled in so many directions, I asked, what is the priority? I asked for help. I didn't ask for COVID to come in, but I did ask for help. I asked for solutions, recommendations for the Zoom meetings that take up so much of my time. And the thought was, let's rotate the department for people in my department to do it. I have done that. But when we have 6 meetings this week at committee, what am I supposed to do when somebody's here and that can't be somewhere else? I've asked for your suggestions. I haven't gotten any. But I keep hearing that there's issues. Again, I have asked for help. I have asked for another person in my budget meeting. I was told that we were going to try to go away from Zoom in June, try to go away from these meetings and try to come back to the way we were. My last statement was, if that changes, please let me know. Here we are doing the Zoom meetings. And again, the Zoom meetings at night are for zoning are from 7 to 9 to 9:30, 10 o'clock. And again, guys, we've been here. We've been here nonstop, working more hours. And all I've asked for is help. And I haven't gotten those, but I continue to get statements that my department's not keeping up, they're not doing their job. There's issues here, there's issues there, and I get that. But I can't be in 4 different places. I have huge projects that require us to focus on them, and whether it be 2 or 3 days. The accounting software stuff is going to be a 1 or 2, maybe even 3-day focus just on that. Because if you go away from it and come back, it's hard to do. And then when you're at the mercy of the vendor, I have to be there. Zach has, Tom has, we have to be there. We can't just say, oh, hold on a second. We have to be there. So again, the rumors and I'm not gonna say rumors, but the issues that people are having, you know, if there's a department head that's having an issue, please come talk to me. My door is always open. It's always there. I'm always ready to listen. I have yet to have somebody come in and sit down with me and say, here are the issues, can we work it out? And we went over to the EOC the other day, and we're building this new EOC center, and we sat down with Kevin and looked at the cabling system that he needs in there. Actually, Zach asked, who's going to do the cabling? And it was mentioned that possibly IT. I'm going to tell you, that's a huge, huge undertaking. There's over 50 Ethernet runs and video and whatnot. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that's another project that was not planning on doing. So again, I'm asking for help and suggestions. So please, anyone stop into my office. If a board member would like to do this during Zoom meeting and just watch it and make sure it's working, so I and Zach and everybody can go out and do what we need to do and get those computers installed and upgrades installed, I'm open to that. So,
Just to sort of reiterate your point, I mean, literally in the past 20 minutes, I've gotten 6 emails for support requests while I've been sitting here. That's outside of projects, guys. That's not something that's on your list or anything. That's just everyday stuff. So I don't think everybody thinks about that. All the regular everyday.
Okay, are we ready to, can we go into executive session? Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
So
Thank you. Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, time is 10:00.
We need a roll call. Roll call.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yes.
Are we good? Okay, so coming out of, need a motion to come out of executive session.
I'll second.
So, Gibler and Hanley, all those in favor, oh, we have Mr. Wetling,
Yes.
Hubbardson,
Yes.
Truckenberg, yes.
Yes.
Hanley, yes.
Yes,
Yes, okay. And then, since we don't want to delay this too long, would you guys be available to meet, early before the county board meeting next Thursday? And that we continue this discussion? Would that work?
Yeah.
Our meeting's at 6,
county board meeting at 6.
so if we made it 5,
Okay, so I post a special notice then.
it's a executive session of administrative services.
Executive session.
I mean, we have to open and start. So,
And you said 5 o'clock? They're gonna give it up.
Count. We'll make it work.
So then it will adjourn, the meeting itself is adjourned until September 9th. I mean, sorry, October, whatever I said.
Aye.
The meeting, thank you.
Aye. Meeting adjourned?
Yes,
Jim and Bill.
October 5th.